Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 46. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardall. If you want to get involved in the show, go ahead and tweet us. I am at Beatty_Matt. Sean's at Sean_Beatty. Kev's at Kesley, first name believes me at 3. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think of all the topics we talk about. Follow our page on the Eli Network. Let's get into some quick topics before we get into some National Hockey League. Gentlemen, we have finally jinxed the Seattle Sounders. They lost their first game of the season on Sunday, a 1-0 loss to Minnesota on the road. So I am sorry to the Sounders for jinxing you finally. And, it was bound to come to an end sometime. Glad they got that loss out of the way so now they can go undefeated and win the MLS Cup. So there's good news there. Also, just wanted to talk, the Storm are off until after the Olympics, but bad news today. Katie Lou Samuelson, also a Seattle Storm player, tested positive for COVID-19. She has been vaccinated, but she is not traveling with the team any longer to Tokyo. So the only Storm players that will be making the trip are Sue Bird, Brianna Stewart, and Jewel Lloyd. But still a strong showing from the Storm in the Olympics. And, that team should be primed for a gold medal run as well. So good luck to Team USA and all the Seattle Storm players. As for the Olympics, that gets underway officially on Wednesday. Opening ceremonies are on Friday. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about the Olympics next week as it pertains to local Washington sports. But gentlemen, the Seattle Kraken are almost upon us. So let us talk a little bit about the Seattle Kraken. So first thing is first, I'm going to share my screen here. Oh, Sean got the hat on. He is ready to go. But let's show you what the jerseys will look like here. They have unveiled them today. So, Kevin, what do you think?
Hold on, let me get a cigarette, boys. Whew! God damn. No, In all realness, I think they're, like I said, I love the colors. Like when we first announced it on the podcast, what the colors would be, kind of like Tennessee Titan colors, almost pretty much. They blend well, especially with the logo. I think it's gonna look sick. The only thing that kind of like, if I were to nag on anything, is that little red stripe on the sleeves and at the bottom kind of looks like a smidge weird, but not enough to where it's gonna like throw me off type of deal. I still think they look sick. I probably will eventually get one of some player, and I'll be like, yeah, that guy is awesome, and I'm not gonna have a damn clue. Well, I'll eventually know.
You'll learn. Sean, what do you think?
I mean, they're nice. They're nice. I don't know what Kevin's talking about, the red line or whatever, but they look really nice.
Oh, yeah.
Hockey
I'll show you.
hockey sweaters are nice. So yeah, there's some
Yes.
there's some good ones out there.
Yes.
That,
I
that.
I like the look. I think all the colors go well together. The sleeves are pretty nice. I'm curious if they're gonna when they're gonna reveal their away jerseys as well as their alternate jerseys. I'm guessing these are their home blues, and then they'll probably do an away white jersey. Curious how that color scheme will look, especially with the dark blue. How they're gonna coordinate those jerseys. And if I had to guess, I guess they'd probably go the way of the Sharks, where they'd have a third alternate, like a black jersey, probably with a similar color style to this one, but probably a little bit mixed up. So it's a true alternate jersey that you could probably buy in the team store. But really like the look of these jerseys that they came out with. The numbers look good. They don't blend onto the jersey, which is a big problem in a lot of sports in high school, especially where they just have the colors just too close together with the numbers, so you can't really tell whose number is what. But they did a really good job with these. So they'll be presenting these to the players on Wednesday as well as Friday's actual NHL draft. So look forward to that, everyone. Let us know what you think of the jerseys in the comments or on Twitter. But let's talk a little bit about the expansion draft, which is happening this Wednesday. So they are going to have some special guests announcing some Seattle draft picks. So they're going to have, during the presentation on ESPN2 on Wednesday during the draft, they're going to have some Seattle sports legends, including Sue Bird, Marshawn Lynch, Lenny Wilkins, Jordan Morris, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Bobby Wagner, and Kyle Lewis, as well as Jerry Bruckheimer, Macklemore, Cameron Granado, and Chanel Keenan. So very interesting lineup. I'm curious how all these people are going to be incorporated into the broadcast as well as selecting picks. So quite a star-studded Seattle lineup there. I'm very interested to see Marshawn Lynch repping some Kraken gear because he always wears Seattle gear very well. So looking forward to seeing Marshawn on the broadcast. What?
But he's a Sharks fan.
Is
His
he?
hair doesn't fit me anymore. It's when I was little, but I don't have an active one. But he's a Sharks fan.
I mean, he'll probably be like you. He can change hats.
Dude, man, I look fucking horrible. Sorry for swearing.
But that is a star-studded lineup to be announcing some of the newest draft picks for the Seattle Kraken. So in terms of the expansion draft, I'm going to share my screen once again here. So last night I went through all of the protected lists as well as the available players. And my list is not a calculated salary cap. This guy's really good. This guy's having, mine was mostly related on guys I have experience with or know the name, or it's mainly a conglomeration of a lot of Western Hockey League guys, worked with the Tri-City Americans, so know the league pretty well, especially the U.S. division. So there, a lot of guys on this list are guys that I think would maybe revitalize their careers, resurge into their careers. A lot of guys on here that I just know from watching the game of hockey. So some highlights on here. The goaltenders, you obviously see Carey Price there. There's been news recently that he's hurt, that he's going to have surgery, and then he wasn't protected, which was something that was pretty shocking to a lot of Canadian news outlets. So he is an option for the Kraken. And as Sean mentioned before the show, there are a lot of options at goalie. So the other two on there, Eric Comrie, Calvin Pickard, those are Western Hockey League guys. That's why I thought they might be a good fit, especially at their price tag as well. Like those guys are probably going to be fairly cheap on the market to get and have behind Carey Price if they go that route. Some of the forwards, just to highlight, Morgan Geekie, he is a former Tri-City American. I also worked with him. He is a younger guy, would be a cheaper contract for the Seattle Kraken. Jonas Damskoy, Sean knows him from his time with the Sharks. He's currently with the Colorado Avalanche. I think that'd be a solid pick. Ryan Johansson, former Portland Winterhawk. I think he would fit in very well here. He's in about his 30s, so I think he'd bring some veteran presence to the Seattle Kraken. Patrick Marleau is one that I thought would just be a great one-year deal. I don't think it's very likely, but I thought it would be cool. He was a Seattle Thunderbird drafted in 1997. I think it'd be very cool for him to end his hockey career in Seattle where it all started. So that would be that would be very, very cool if he started and finished in Seattle. And my big pick for I feel like they need to draft stars in goalie, forward, and defenseman. The star I picked for the forwards was Vladimir Tarasenko. He has expressed he wants to get out of St. Louis, so I feel like that would be a good pick for the Kraken to kind of build around Vladimir Tarasenko. He's in his 30s, so he's getting a little bit up there, but he's still got a lot left in the tank. Tyler Johnson, Spokane native, just won the Stanley Cup. That would be great to have him up here in the Pacific Northwest again. And then on the defenseman side, I wanted to pick one veteran that had a lot of experience, and that was PK Subban on the New Jersey Devils. He's got a lot of playoff experience, led Nashville to a Stanley Cup final, did not get the win. I also worked with Parker Wotherspoon there on the New York Islanders, and I think it would be just there was a lot of like brother combinations they can pick from. Those two are both defensemen, and I thought that would be an interesting pick, especially since both of them played in the Western Hockey League and both of them have experience up here in Washington. So I am going to throw it to Sean. What do you think of what I have here?
I just think you just picked a lot of Northwest guys and a couple Sharks and said good to go.
That is not what I did, okay?
So a lot of people have been talking about Carey Price to the Kraken. And obviously he has obvious ties to the Northwest. I would say be hesitant because he had a very good end of the year this year. However, he really hasn't been that guy the last couple of years, and he has a huge price tag that comes with him. So he might sell some jerseys, but in terms of winning games, there's probably much easier and better ways to go than getting it. Now, if Carey Price is the Carey Price of the playoffs, it's obviously awesome, but is he going to be that? The odds probably say no. It's one of those things that Kevin and me have talked about. When you draft the people who draft in fantasy, they just draft names at the end of the draft. So like, well, Matt Kemp's here in like round 15. He's really good. They're like, well, yeah, he was really good like 5 years ago, but he's not. The name carries weight that the player might not necessarily be that old player again. I would say you're probably right though, Matthew. Like one veteran and then a couple of younger guys. I just think like that veteran, especially for goalie, that's how Vegas did it. Vegas struck gold with some goalies, and especially Marc-Andre Fleury, and he revitalized because they didn't have to protect Murray, who was also they protected Murray instead, who then won the Stanley Cup, and now he is also available, Murray, if you want. But I would say, Matthew, that the goalie list is like what's gonna make or break like your early season protection, and there are some absolute studs here, or at least in the past. There's been Brendan Bishop, Jonathan Quick, who won 2 Stanley Cups, Matt Murray, Martin Jones. Martin Jones loves so much. Please take Martin Jones as a shirt. Please take Martin Jones. And then there's Holtby. I mean, there's guys here, and again, these are all kind of guys that aren't as good as they once were, because if they were amazing, they'd be protected at this point. But there's guys who have had serious NHL success, and if they can revitalize it or recatch it, the magic they had, like they can, like Marc-Andre Fleury did, they're going to carry you a very long way in early season being good, because a lot like in hockey or like in football, a good quarterback will carry a long way. A good goalie will carry you. As for other things, Matthew, I think you're right. You got to have at least a couple veteran forwards and a couple veteran defensemen. However, the issue comes with those guys and protecting those guys. This comes with money, and you don't not wanting to lock a lot up because they still have some free agent moves they can do, because they don't have to take everybody now. They can sign free agents. They still have a draft coming up, and it also depends on how they're going to target the draft. If they have a guy at 7 that they're like a couple guys like we got 2 goalies we're looking at, then you don't really need to go heavy in goalie because they know they're going to get one. Or if they're going to go heavy defense early, they don't really attack defense that early. So that not knowing that, what I would say is you're kind of right. Although Tarasenko is really nice, he is hurt a lot. I don't know if there's probably an NFL comp I'm missing off the top of my head, maybe like a Penny. Although Tarasenko is way better when he plays than Penny is. He's a superstar all-star if he plays, but he's just is constantly hurt recently, at least the last couple of years, and he has a big contract. So Tarasenko would be nice, but again, it's kind of the carry price thing. It's who are you actually getting? And the one that I feel that I've been seeing a lot too is Landeskog, the Colorado Avalanche captain, actually was not protected, and Colorado is very good. And Landeskog is still, I think he's only like 31. No, he's 28. So, and he's a captain. So, I mean, that is a guy who would draw some serious consideration from me rather than Donskoy. Donskoy is really nice. He's a really solid second liner, but I think getting him to be your captain is like, wow, you could do a whole lot worse than that. Tyler Johnson, really like him, sneaky Spokane guy, but like Lucic, there's a lot of guys forwards. I would say Matthew as the pick for San Jose, not necessarily Marleau, who could be a veteran, but he's a 4th liner at best at this point in his career. If I am a Sharks fan, which I am, I do not want you picking Radim Šimić, who is a defenseman, very young, but the Sharks have been bad 2 years, but they are above 500 when he plays. He just is so all-around good and makes everybody so much better. It would be a mistake not to take him. Another thing that I think would be cool and actually viable is both Subban brothers. One is a goalie, I believe. Isn't he still a backup in Vegas?
He's in Chicago.
Chicago, okay. And then PK obviously plays for the Devils. Those two solid and both can contribute, and I think both of those brothers would be very fun to have in Seattle. And then the defense, like again, I can't look at every single person who's been kept and things like that, but defense is a little bit harder because defense ages rather quickly, and depending on how your play style too. So yeah, just please get somebody, at least one veteran back there to hold and solidify a line. And maybe as a Sharks fan, maybe not someone who's super aggressive, because all Sharks have is old guys who are super aggressive and then leave their goalies out to dry. So please don't put yourself in that position. Have defensemen who play defense.
Yeah. I can agree with most of what you said. The Donskoy, I picked Donskoy because I already had Tarasenko, so that would be my big contract forward, my captain per se.
But I think, but
And I even saw Alex Ovechkin is available, which is, another big contract.
Yeah,
but a possibility.
My question is like what you said with Tarasenko. Landeskog doesn't have now. When healthy, I would probably agree that Tarasenko is probably better. However, Landeskog is a captain on a very good team, and he's younger, and he doesn't have injury concerns. So do you want to go safe or do you want to go boom or bust?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. My thought was Carey Price, obviously your top goaltender in this scenario. Your top line's probably Tarasenko, Johansson, and you would probably want to throw, I would say probably Lucic or Hagelin on that top line. And then you'd probably go Tyler Johnson, Lucic and Hagelin, and then you'd probably round it out with Okposo, Bukestad, and Zucker.
You still have a front row overall pick. You're gonna play, like, or not, maybe not now, but you know what I mean. Like, you have to have a spot for him. So they're gonna play sooner rather than later.
Yeah, but just based off of what I have here, these are the lines I was thinking. And then you go PK Subban, Connor Clifton as your top defensive pair. Then you go Delzato, Vatanen as your second defensive pair, and then you round it out with Olimata and Noel Juleson as your third defensive pair. So that was kind of what I was thinking in terms of lines and how they might construct this draft. Now, everyone out there knows I'm not an expert on this. If I get 3 of these, I would be very impressed with myself, because this is really a crapshoot at this point.
Expert on this, but because they don't pick the same people, doesn't mean you are wrong. The Kraken people could screw this all up.
True. I mean, there are expectations at this point, especially with how Vegas did. You can do this right, but it's a matter of
I think a lot of it is hitting on goalie. A lot of it's going to be hitting on your keeper, because they've supplemented that team with trades at the trade deadline that first year or that second year to really boost. They got really lucky their first year. Great goalie play, but they got pretty lucky. The second year, they really made a bunch of trades, and it was like, okay, we're like, we are this now. And they got guys that were relatively cheap value and turned them into something. Like, they got really good play out of players that had gotten less of it. And I think that's what it is. Like, if you can hit on your goalie, and you don't even need to hit really on one, if you get 2 guys that are decent and one just plays out of their mind for a little bit, that's all you need. And you get 3 cracks at this thing. Like, and you can, like I said, there's guys, Stanley, like 6 Stanley Cup wins, and those guys I mentioned, like, there's guys who have won Stanley Cups and multiple Stanley Cups.
But there are guys that they got that, you just didn't expect, like William Karlsson. No one really expected his production. Jonathan Marchessault, no one predicted his.
Stone was good.
Alex Tuck, he was a rookie when they drafted him, and he turned out to work out really well. So
and Stone was good, but like went to another level on that team because it gelled really well. So like having a veteran goalie who is still playing well, like a Carey Price, if you want to go that route, that's what I'm saying is there's risk, but this available goalies is a who's who of goalies. There are some names there who have got, even like I said, Martin Jones has been to a Stanley Cup, like carried the Sharks. He's very good when he used to play like old Martin Jones. He just hasn't been that guy. But if you take him for a relatively cheap deal and then like turn him into old Martin Jones, that dude is like, he has shown flashes of taking you to Stanley Cup. He lost to Murray, the guy who is also here. Like, those 2 guys in that Stanley Cup are on this list. So I'm just saying, like,
there are some options at goalie. Yeah. Like, Carey Price is by no mean a lock, and the other 2 I have picked, those are just young guys on cheap deals that could have a place. They needed to fill out their AHL system and their ECHL system, so who knows where they would fall. But
what do you think, Kevin?
Okay, so I was about to mention you're both wrong. Let me break this down for you boys. So first off, you got to start out. You need a leader, okay, and that's what Captain Picard right here. Leader has defeated the Borg several times. Honestly, most people go up against him. He just looks handsome, bald, just takes him down. Period. So you got your goalie right there. As for your forwards, as Sean knows, advanced stats and knowing advanced stats and how they contribute to success, like Moneyball and stuff, you got to go with Morgan Geeky right here. Geeky nerds, they know everything. They're gonna know how to score, goals and stuff like that. And paired with it, I saw Mr. DeLeo here. Leo for zodiac sign means lion, which lions are kind of beasts. Most most of the time, like people like John Jones and stuff like that, champions have like lions and stuff on their stuff because they know they're beasts like lions. So the king of the jungle, and Chase DeLeo, pretty much along with Geeky. So you have beast and smarts. I mean, how do you really defeat that, honestly? The one thing I noticed on defensemen that we can't is Mr. PK Subban. We don't want PKs on our team, okay?
It's
Hurting other players on our team. Subban. Whatever.
And ban.
But no, it's PK right here, player killer. Yeah, we don't want any of that on our team hurting our other team members. That's just bad. So he goes away. Would
it imply he's killing other players?
Yeah, because that's what you do. You're killing penalties.
Yeah, and
but PKs usually just kill whoever they want on their team and also off their team.
Well, so Kevin is analytics of hockey. He knows player killers. Yeah.
We're just gonna cross them out right there. What we do want, which I noticed here, is mata. If you take out this little A and this little T, that is the third person conjugation for Spanish for matar, which is to kill. And that's what you do want. Mata means to kill in Spanish.
So you don't want a player killer, you just want a killer.
Yes, because he's going to kill on.
We're bringing back the enforcer, Sean. That's what we're doing here.
Yes. Okay. So you want Ollie to murder people on the other team, pretty much. And then I was just thinking Mayo because
I knew you were going to highlight Mayo. I knew you were highlighting Mayo.
I mean, who doesn't want a little bit of mayo? Just to add a little bit of spice. You don't want bland stuff on there. You want a little bit of flavor. Kevin, and that should round out your 5. You don't really need anybody else. So
Kevin, there's so much wrong with what you just said. Because mayo doesn't add any spice. But you only still have,
a little bit of flavor, not spice, of course.
You are still a player short on the ice.
You need one more forward.
You need
one more forward. Haggling, because he's haggling the other players.
No, Kevin, I want you to pronounce. Oh, so hold on. I gotta. How do I draw? This thing changed just now. No.
What did you do?
Are you talking about the Jugstad right here?
Yeah.
The Jugstad. That's how I'm gonna
pick him and him. I want you to say all their names.
Donskoy.
There you go. Okay.
Jonas Donskoy. Actually, it's probably Eunice. Eunice Donskoy and the Jugstad. It's probably Middle Eastern. So be Jugstad.
And then the other one I highlighted that
it's actually probably Jugstad.
That I'm slowly erasing.
Oh, Vladimir Tarasenko.
You're pretty close. I'm pretty impressed.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. And I like all of your picks because you went Thunderbird, American, Winterhawk, and then Mata, Mayo. Like that's just a solid lineup.
I mean, honestly, if we can defeat the board with Captain Picard here, who's going to stop us? The Knights, like all these other teams. Like he's killed the whole board, who literally wipe out nations and planets. And he literally infiltrated them and like just bitch slapped him back to Bangkok.
He was gonna stop the player killer.
Yeah, to stop the PK and have your just regular killer Mata Ali here just do the dirty work. He's like Worf, pretty much. He's just going to Klingon, like use a Klingon warblade on people's butts.
And that is why you watch this podcast, because I know Kevin doesn't know a ton about Star Trek. So he made all that up.
I know TNG and I know a little bit of the originals, and that's it.
Okay. All right. Well,
TNG like back in the hand.
Let us know what you think of my list here, who you think might be selected by the Seattle Kraken in this expansion draft on Wednesday, as well as the draft on Friday of the actual NHL draft, where they'll be selecting some of the younger talent from some of the various leagues throughout North America and throughout Europe. So let us know what you think. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Baines Matt. Sean's at Sean's Betty. Kev's at Kev's Lead. First name, please be a 3. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. But let's move on to the Seattle Mariners. And gentlemen, they have come out of the All-Star break hot. And when I say that, I mean they've won 2 out of 3 out of the All-Star breaks. That is technically, by temperature terms, hot. All right. So First, Friday, they played the Angels, 3-game series, 6-5. They lost 9-4 on Saturday before earning a 7-4 win on Sunday. So they are 50-44, still sitting at third place in the AL West. So I'm just going to give my quick thoughts on the Mariners so far. So I love when they play the Angels, as I was telling Kevin earlier, because they're usually the first highlight on SportsCenter because of Shohei Ohtani. So thank you, Shohei, for allowing them to be first. And I could just get those highlights out of the way very quickly. I like watching Logan Gilbert pitch. I was able to watch a little bit of Logan Gilbert yesterday, and he's looking good. And 4-2 would indicate he's pitching pretty well. Obviously those first few games were a little bit tough, but it seems like he's picking it up. Chris Flexen, he's just flexing on everybody right now. Arguably the Mariners' best pitcher. And then it's always nice to, see the Mariners score some runs. So, they're averaging, 15, 22. So 7 runs a game. Pretty good to start the second half of the season. But it's been very short, and that's all I have. Sean, what do you think?
I'm just so frustrated with this team. I love them and I love watching them, but man, can't they just sweep the Angels? Like, why do you have to lay a duck every 3 days? There's a duck that has to be laid. And it was Kikuchi. It was their all-star. I was like, we're so confident. Like, I was like, Gilbert's gonna kill it. He did. I was like, oh, Flexen's gonna kill it. And Kikuchi, these are the best 3 pitchers. We're gonna be awesome. And then just like one duck has to be laid every 3 days. I don't get it. Winning. Yeah. Winning 2 out of 3, awesome. I love it. Logan Gilbert looking great. Didn't give up any runs while I was in the game. Of course, the 2 inherited runners both, of course, scored. But so his ending line doesn't look as good as I actually think he pitched because he dominated early. It was awesome. Hitting is still going to be a little issue, but Mitch Haniger just being the AL player of the week for it just does not help. And that was all the offense they really needed. They did get outscored again. They still got a negative 1 run differential in this series, but somehow they won 2 games. I don't get this team, but I think I tweeted, I don't think they're as good as the record indicates. They're playing over their heads a little bit, but they are sure fun to watch. I really appreciate them.
Kevin?
Yeah. I think Kikuchi would be okay. I think he was probably still a little sick from whatever the hell he had. So I imagine he probably just wasn't feeling great. But they probably wanted to play him anywho, just because Dunn's probably still not ready and just Sheffield's a mess, and you'd rather not do a bullpen day to start off the bat. Flexen looked great in his game, and the fact that also the Mariners got after Santiago too, who had a really good outing against them in the series before the All-Star break. So I was happy to see that. As Sean already mentioned, Haniger being the AL Player of the Week was awesome. Kyle Seager had great at-bats. JP still doing his thing. The only really one I can knock would be probably Dylan Moore getting caught stealing so poorly. Just, God, it was awful. It was like, that was the game too. Like, I was going to be super mad if we lost because, like, they came back and that would have been it should have been 7-5 instead of 6-5, and freaking Dylan Moore not been terrible at stealing second, even though usually he's not bad. But that was also the atrocious part, was just like we have like a 6-1 lead and then we're just giving everything away in the 9th. I'm like, are we really going to poop the bed like this, boys? Like, just, and for Graveman too, like Graveman just didn't have his stuff, and then Seawold gave up I think 1 run, but then locked it down. So, which is weird because coming out of All-Star break, we are the number 2 bullpen in the AL, I believe, behind New York, and Tampa Bay falling with 3rd. So that was kind of weird to see, but I guess every the other team had paid play, and like Fletcher was on a crazy hitting streak, the best streak in the, plus, Shohei Ohtani, Walsh are good. And then other than that, there's nothing really good on that team other than Trout, who's hurt. But those 3, are good. So we should have done better, especially since their pitching is absolutely atrocious. As they mentioned on the podcast, like the Angels spent like like 2/3 of their picks.
No, they picked
this
all
draft?
pitchers.
Drafting pitchers.
All 20.
All 20.
pitchers.
Oh, sorry, all 20 were pitchers. Yeah, like because their pitching sucks.
Hey, it's interesting.
It's terrible.
Strategy. I kind of like it. You got a one big issue. Let's figure it out.
Like Dylan Bundy, who was a starter at the beginning of the year because of what he did last year, is now in the bullpen, and then he got blown to heck. Like the Mariners just took advantage of him because he's terrible. Like these are series like this in Texas and like Detroit, we've already mentioned, you have got to bring in a sweep. Like there's no excuse not to bring in a sweep. You're good enough. You've shown that you're good enough to beat those teams. Now I get, and but at the end, they are paid to play. So every now and then I could see like a close game like that, but the whole, what was it? We lost 7-1 or something like that. Like that, I don't want to see.
7-4.
I think it was 7-1. On Kikuchi. Oh yeah, that's right. They got some late runs that game. Look, other than that, just real quick, Logan Gilbert looked freaking phenomenal. Oh my God. This, I think we've already kind of just seen, hopefully, and I hope like this continues, because if this is what Logan Gilbert's going to be, like, holy crap. Yeah. And he didn't even go 6. He only went like 5-1, didn't he? Or did he go 6?
No, he didn't
go 6.
He went 5 2/3, I believe.
Yeah, with 9 Ks and only 2 given up. Oh my God.
Well, he left with 0,
please.
but then the bullpen allowed both runs to score.
Yeah. Still, I'll take it. Like he was just beast mode. All in all, and then people need to call. Like I was seeing some tweets. People like, oh, Cal Raleigh and Kelnick, are not really. Give the kids time. Give them time. It'll be okay. So, I'll leave it with that.
All right. Well, you mentioned Kelnick. We're going to circle back to that. We're going to come back around. I want to start first with outfielder Jake Fraley, placed on the COVID-19 list by the Seattle Mariners. So this story from the Associated Press, he was placed on the COVID-19 list after testing positive on Saturday. He did not play on Friday, and then he was feeling under the weather, and then he finally tested positive on Saturday. He is being quarantined for at least 10 days. As far as they know, he was not vaccinated. So this is not the first time the Mariners have had issues with people testing positive or people having to quarantine for COVID-related things. As we remember, I believe it was Steckenrider and the long how do you say it? Marchevitz. I believe were the two that were quarantined in May. So this is nothing new for the Mariners. It's just sad that it's happening again. As we talked about, I believe it was either May or April. I forget which month that was, where the Mariners are one of the least vaccinated teams, according to MLB's Jeff Passan. So it's just unfortunate for Jake Fraley because he has been playing very well with his time being called up from AAA Tacoma. So it's just it sucks for him, but at the same time, this was most likely preventable. We have heard of the Yankees having some positive tests with players that were vaccinated, so it is possible, and we all know it's possible. It's only 90% of efficacy.
He was vaccinated.
Yeah, so it's possible, but the fact that the Mariners are known to be one of the teams who are the least vaccinated, a little bit frustrating that it happened. And I'm kind of waiting for more to come. It doesn't seem like that's the case, especially since Fraley didn't play, and it seems like for the most part he wasn't really in close contact with other players that maybe weren't vaccinated or could have contracted. They were probably outside or something like that. So hopefully it's only Fraley, and hopefully the Mariners kind of figure it out. But if you want to have this whole my choice thing, that's just kind of the way it'll go. It's, if you don't want to get vaccinated, it's up to you, but you run the risk. That's kind of your deal. Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah. It sucks. It sucks that I mean everybody does have choice, but I also say before you make that choice, should consult a medical professional, um, or at least even multiple medical professionals. And also, I'm going to put, it is your choice to whether to get it or not. But on this team that has so many prospects that are just raking down below, you can run that risk, but you can be replaced, especially for a guy like Fraley in a very crowded outfield that's going to get even more crowded. Just saying, like they brought up Kelnick, they can bring up other people too. I mean, Taylor Trammell keeps breaking down in Tacoma. They can always bring him back up. Plus, other people have such availability. Shed Long can play outfield. Dylan Moore knows how to play outfield. The only one who really doesn't play outfield is France. So if he doesn't want to get vaccinated, he just runs the risk of not playing when he gets back. Like, you can lose your job, sadly, and there ain't nothing you can really do about it. So we'll see. Hopefully nobody else got affected by it, and the Mariners can keep raking in some wins.
Sean?
Yeah, it's kind of the same. All signs point to wasn't vaccinated, so it's people who are vaccinated can still get it.
Yes.
Kind of to prevent more hospitalizations, the serious stuff. They can still spread it, but you're still less likely to get it and less likely to spread it by being vaccinated. So I guess the best way to prevent this is to just get vaccinated. Jake Fraley, unfortunately, he's playing pretty well and has so far all year. So hopefully he comes back, I guess, sooner rather than later. Not to repeat anything you guys said.
Let's move on to Hector Santiago, who had his 10-game suspension upheld for having a foreign substance on his glove. Sources tell ESPN's Kylie McDaniel and Jeff Passan. So apparently, when they looked at it, Santiago is the only pitcher. Yeah, sticky substance on baseballs. The Mariners will not be able to fill Santiago's roster spot for the entirety of his 10-game suspension. Santiago later admitted he used rosin on his glove side, which is in violation of the foreign substance rule. He was suspended 2 days later and immediately appealed the penalty. So this is just awful by baseball. I'm just going to start with the takes. If rosin is a legal substance, then why is rosin on his glove side a problem? Like they're just
on the mound.
Like it's like it's literally on the mound.
They
it's
give
just
it to you.
Yeah, like if rosin on gloves is not allowed, then what is allowed? It's just more of Major League Baseball just not giving clear direction on the rules. And a lot of people have been saying he's the example, and it kind of feels that way because he was found to only have rosin, and yet they upheld his suspension for something that is provided on a Major League Baseball mound. It just I don't get it. It didn't no foreign substance has been proven, so I don't understand this ruling. And the Mariners bullpen needs all the help it can get, and if Hector Santiago can help, this is just a blow to the Mariners bullpen. So it's quite frustrating from Santiago's perspective, I'm sure, because he used what was given to him and he still had the 10-game suspension. So it's just Major League Baseball. You need to fix this, or I don't want to say the sport's going to die because that's not going to happen, but people will drop off because of this. People will drop off. Kevin, what do you think?
It's pure effing stupidity. Just like I'm gonna put it kind of in the way I'm gonna draw it in crayon for the commissioner and them, just so they didn't want rosin on his glove. So in what world, how is that cheating? Like, okay, for example, like, oh, you can't have, like, there's no way he can't get it in his gloves because if he puts it on his hands, contacts the ball, and holds it like this, like you're supposed to, there's going to be rosin in the glove, just like it's going to get on the ball, which is going to go back into your glove, which is going to have rosin on the glove. Like, if I explained this to a kindergartner with stick figures, they would get it. Like, even if it's on the inside part where his hand, like he could have used it to, like, he's probably just adjusting his glove, grabbing it, pulling it in. Like, he's not, like, it's, yeah. Apparently, just IQ, I'm just going to say it, IQ minus, like, below 30. Just holy crap. Like, apparently the people that run Major League Baseball are dumber than this Steve Gordon broken thing that doesn't, like, it can't even, like, form sentences, but, like, just stupid. Yeah, that's the best way. They're just dumber than a rock. It's ridiculous that we have to be punished for this stupidity. So, yeah, go, yeah,
Sean.
Yeah, they made an example out of him, even though he didn't do anything wrong. I think the best part about this is he has shared on Instagram that he's spending the suspension on a vacation with his family in Hawaii. So that's awesome. So that's it. Like, it's stupid. It's just, you guys have said it. It's dumb. There's no. Yeah, they're making an example out of him. I'm convinced of that. Like, he didn't do anything, and they're just like, we need someone to get him suspended. It won't hurt the Mariners, and we'll pick a relief pitcher. And they picked it after he was done with the game. He was being pulled. That was it. They didn't pick him in the other innings. They tested the glove, or did whatever they were going to do. They waited for the 5th time to test him, and they're like, now you're getting suspended. See, guys, we're serious. Yeah, it's all bullshit.
Yeah. So Major League Baseball, figure it out. But let's move on to some more positive stuff. So Kevin already talked about it. Kelnick back up with the Mariners. Had a hit in his first game Sunday, playing in the lineup. Huh?
Has a hit in every game since he's been back up.
Yeah, that's one.
No, been up he's up for all 3 games.
Oh, I didn't see his stats on the other 2 on ESPN.
He's got a hit in every game.
Oh, well, nice. And then Cal Raleigh, however, did not get a hit in any of the games that he has played in. So, figure it out. It's his first few games. You can't expect him to. You can't expect anybody to do that. That's just crazy. But some other stuff that I have been seeing, I've seen a lot of promotions recently. So I've seen Austin Shenton. I believe we mentioned him last week. And he's someone that Julio's been hyping up. So if Julio's been saying stuff, he's got to have some talent there, because I know Julio knows what he's talking about. But who wants to mention some other guys being called up? Sean, I'm going to throw it to you first.
Zach Deloche got sent up to Double-A very recently, and he was their 2nd-round pick a couple of years ago. So that's one I've been looking up for. I think there's more to come in terms of, like, once they really start assessing where people are going to fit in after they've signed, because they're still signing guys from the draft, and how many they're going to get. And that's really going to, because the first 3 picks were their only high schoolers. Everybody else was the college guys. So the high school kids usually go to, like, the Arizona, not even the league, just like the complex to, like, work on some stuff. Where the college guys, if they're signed, will usually report to one of the teams, and that will result in somebody usually being promoted. So that Everett team we've talked about before is super loaded. And so I assume most of the college guys will report to either Modesto, maybe a little lower depending on how late the guy was picked, but like probably like around Modesto level. So that will mean a Marte call up, Kevin, I would assume, from Modesto to Everett, and then Everett will have a bunch of guys. Trickle effect. We'll have to have some guys go up, and I think that's going to start soon. So get excited here for the next week to see some guys move up.
Kevin, anyone you want to mention?
No, yeah, you pretty much mentioned Loach, Marte. I'll give a shout out to whoever the hell put that in our chat about. Hold on, I gotta get past the man picks here. Jonathan Clates.
Oh, yeah.
Stolen base. Yeah. his total stolen bases, 16 swipes in like, what was it, 12 games?
Yeah.
Roughly. Outfielder, speed.
He's very young, but he's gosh, how old is he now? I can't remember how old he is, but because the whole COVID thing threw me off. How old is he? He's 19. He's at the complex ball, the Arizona Fall League ball. He's not hitting very well, but he's stealing a ton of bases.
Yeah. As long as he gets on base.
Yeah.
He finds a way to get on base. Yeah.
That dude,
another. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying that dude moves. That is the one thing he does. He needs to work on his hitting, but oh my gosh, he moves.
Another one that we didn't really mention that has been still raking, Matt Brash. Like,
Yeah.
He's just been filthy. That was the guy I got to watch at the Dust Devils game on Wednesday when they were here. And that dude, one, he can throw up to 100. He went to 102 on his fastball. And he's got some other really good pitches as well. And then he had a game, I think he went 7 scoreless on his last one, something along that line. This is another, like, I know we always talk about Hancock and Kirby and Gilbert. Like, this is a dude to keep an eye on, like, as a guy who can take that fifth spot if like Kikuchi starts going to the wayside and stuff like that, and he keeps pitching the way he does, or even like if he's comfortable with it, like being a nice, good bullpen piece that can be what your Santiago is doing for you now, that can get you like 4 innings of just pure dominance, even though it looks like he can go 7 scoreless, but that is against Double A. But that's the dude that could get called up too once the shift's kind of, once you're seeing all the draft pieces being added and stuff, to go up to Arkansas as well and just make that team nuts. So keep an eye out on Matt Brash, like legit prospect that we don't really talk about much, but he's looking good.
Yeah.
All right, well, let us know what you think of the prospects, how the Mariners have been doing in the second half of the season so far. Go ahead and leave a comment on YouTube, subscribe to us. We're going to talk about the Seahawks for the rest of the 15 minutes we have left, and we're going to touch on an uncomfortable subject to start. If you have not been paying attention to the news, you have not heard what happened with Richard Sherman. Richard did not have a good couple of days early last week on Tuesday and Wednesday, and he was arrested. He appeared in court last Friday. There's video. There's a 911 call out there. If you want to listen, go ahead, but it's not good. Richard released a statement on Friday. I am deeply remorseful for my actions on Tuesday night. I behaved in a manner I'm not proud of. I have been dealing with some personal challenges over the last several months, but that is not an excuse for how I acted. The importance of mental and emotional health is extremely real, and I vow to get the help I need. I appreciate all the people who have reached out in support of me and my family, including our community here in Seattle. I'm grateful to have such an amazing wife, family, and support system to lean on during this time. I'm going to allow everyone here to share their thoughts. I'm going to keep mine quick here. Richard is the last, Sherman is the last jersey I bought for the Seahawks back in 2013 when they made that Super Bowl run. Richard is part of the Legion of Boom, always will be. He'll always be a Seahawk. I'm one of those fans who, when a player leaves, I'm not going to root against you. I'm going to root for you. Not necessarily going to root for your team, but I'll root for you. So, seeing this story, especially hearing the call and the video, watching the video, it hurts. It really hurts. It just sounds like a man who just needed help, and it was just a bad night. So I hope Richard can get the help he needs. He'll always be a Seahawk, always be welcomed in Seattle. So get well, Richard. And if you end up signing with the Seahawks, like I'd love it. Like this doesn't change my opinion about that at all. I hope to see you in an NFL uniform next year, and I hope this is just a blip on your career and your life resume. So Kevin.
Yeah. It hurts to see stuff like that. we've seen it before in the past with the weird Earl incident. Brandon Browner currently being in jail and stuff like that. It's just a shame to kind of see it. At the same time, it's a shame that it was exposed the way it was too. I won't go too heavy into that, but unfortunately, there's the Freedom of Information Act or whatever the heck it is, to where people can put that crap out there. It was kind of hard to watch and listen to, but I, you know, everybody's human. Everybody makes mistakes. Hopefully, he can get the help he needs and learn from it to become a better man and a better person, to where nothing even remotely close to anything like this ever happens again for him. I hope, I just wish him well and good mental health and health to him and his family. And yeah, hope to see him back in the uniform someday. I want him to be fully medically clear up here, with himself, to be healthy with himself before he does come back, type of deal. So just take all the time he needs and come back if he can. But he is, 33, so will be 33. No, he's 33. Sure. Yeah, 33. So,
Sean?
Yeah, it was surprising from Richard, but it's hard to ever know what's going on inside somebody. And, he's changing. He's probably got a lot of stress. It's free agent now, trying to figure out where he's going. There's lots of things going on. COVID's still a thing. So you get it. No excuse, but, you get it. Like, everybody has bad days, especially mixed with alcohol. It's hard. I've defended him for a long time because I thought when he was in the Seahawks, all the Seahawks fans loved him for saying, might not have been the thing every fan on the other opposing teams wanted to hear, but it was the truth. When he said Crabtree was like one of the guys that we're talking about, and he goes, Crabtree's not very good, he's mediocre, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? And Sherm was proven right. Sherm left and went to other teams and said a lot of things about Seattle, and I was like, look, you loved it when he was speaking the truth for Seattle. Now he's speaking the truth on a different team and you don't like it. He hasn't changed. You've changed your allegiances, Seahawks fans. So I defended him even then because I was like, he's on San Francisco saying things about Seattle. Maybe you need to adjust your thinking, and he's still probably correct, and you just don't like the thing he's saying. Obviously he's not defending himself here. I'm not defending Sherman here in this situation, but Sherman's, because of that, has been my favorite because of how he's got a chip on his shoulder. And it's how Seahawks fans felt for a long time. He had that chip on his shoulder, and he represented that and wasn't afraid to tell you he was going to do something and then do it. Like, that's how I wanted all Seahawks games to be, because we've been the doormat for a long time, and he was like, it ends now, and it would just let you know and talk. And I'm awesome. That's awesome. But I hope he continues to play, and I still hope he ends up as a Seahawk. That would be awesome. But hopefully he can figure out what's going on first before he has another issue like this, because that's first and foremost.
And our parents, Sean, got me a framed photo of Richard's SWAT in the NFC Championship game, and that's still going to hang proudly. Nothing changes there. So get well, Richard. But let's move on to a little bit more positive subject. So Seahawks training camp starts next Wednesday. I know it's crazy, right? Football season is right around the corner. So let's talk a little bit about the roster. So last week we weren't able to get to it. We'll get through as much as we can with the 7 minutes we have remaining. But there were a series of articles on ESPN Plus written by Brady Henderson, and he looked at each of the positions for the Seahawks and graded better, worse, or the same. So we are just going to go down and see if we agree with Brady Henderson here. So we are going to start at the wide receiver position. So Brady lists the additions, the losses, and the returners. I'll do the same. So additions: Dwayne Eskridge, Darvin Kidsey, Travis Toivonen.
You have to list them all. Look, we're not going to see most of these guys.
Connor Weddington, Kay Johnson. Losses: David Moore. I miss you, David. Philip Dorsett, Josh Gordon. Returners, Lockett, Metcalf, Freddie Swain, Penny Hart, your boys, John Durosua. I'm talking to you, Sean and Kevin. John Ursua, Cody Thompson, and Aaron Fuller. There was also a photo shared by Russell Wilson of him working out with John Ursua. Wide receiver 3, who knows? But let's talk about better, worse, or the same. So, Kevin, this group, better, worse, or the same?
Probably I would say the same. Mainly because, you're bringing back. I mean, you add Eskridge. Eskridge looks like he's going to be a nice 3, but it's still not proven, so to speak. Like, I want to see it on the field. It would be better if they let John Ursua play, but he back on September 16th of 2018, he looked at Pete Carroll funny for 3 seconds. Since then, Pete Carroll has said, "You're in the doghouse, boy," and has not let him play a snap. But I don't know what it is. Pete Carroll just, like, you went back and traded for him and don't want to play him, even though he looks super. He's jacked as crap and can catch a ball. He's shown it to you. But overall, I'm just gonna say it's the same.
Sean?
I pretty much agree with Kevin. It's largely the same. I do think that Eskridge should be an upgrade over Moore, but we haven't seen it yet. I think a lot of people are going to look at it, and if we pass for more yards, we played better. That's not necessarily what indicates you're better at the position. It's more efficiency and things like that actually indicate if you have better receivers and if they run better routes and stuff. Because, I mean, we can make this core, we can get rid of our top 2 guys and throw for more yards, but that doesn't mean we'll be more efficient at it. Like, looking at total passing yards and saying, "Oh, we got better last year than this year," is a bad way to look at this. But I will say the same, with most likely outcome being a little better, because Eskridge will be better than Moore. We will not see anybody else probably for any substantial time.
I hate to agree, but it's the same. You got Lockett, you got Metcalf. Those are your guys. Nothing changes there. Third wide receiver changes. You guys didn't like Moore. I thought Moore produced in that position that he was put in. We'll see if there is more production from the next person that takes his spot, whether that is Ursua, Swain, Hart, Eskridge. I want to jump on your guys' bandwagon. Like, I want to see Ursua play. Like, throw him in there, get him in. Let's see how he does. And you never know. You never know what you have there. So, Pete, if you're listening, put in Ursua. All right, let's move on to tight end additions. Gerald Everett, Cam Sutton, Dom Wood Anderson. Losses: Greg Olsen, Jacob Hollister, Luke Wilson, Steven Sullivan. Returners: Will Dissly, Colby Parkinson, Tyler Mabry. Better, worse, or the same? I am going to start on this one. I think it's the same. You take away Hollister, you take away Wilson, you take away Olsen. Olsen, he was banged up, not much production out of him. I feel like Hollister is the biggest loss of that group. He had the most catches, and Sean will say it's opportunity, blah blah blah. Maybe he's not a good player, but he caught the balls that were thrown to him. He made some big plays, so I think he is the biggest loss. However, I do think Gerald Everett is a solid replacement. And then outside of that, Will Dissly, just stay healthy and you're good. Colby Parkinson, we didn't see much of him last year, so I'm interested to see what he does this season. And then Mabry, we don't really have a read on at this point, so hopefully there's something there. So I'm going to say the same. Sean?
I will actually say a little better. Oh, that's what the article says. Dang it. Greg Olsen, nothing. Hollister was, I think it was a little flash in the pan. Luke Wilson was okay, but again, I think we'll be better because Will Dissly and Everett will be good. But then because Hollister and Luke Wilson aren't there to take time, Kevin's boy, Colby Parkinson, will get a play. And I think Colby will show that he's better than the other 2. So Everett will be the best player out of these guys. But the real value will come from the third tight end if an injury to Dissly happens, which probably will. The third tight end is so much better than it was the year before.
Kevin?
Yeah, I'm going to say, on paper, it kind of looks like it's a lot just because with Greg Olson's past stats, and to be honest, even though he did get hurt, we didn't really use him. Like, we just didn't really use our tight ends at all last year, which was like weird because the year before we were like tight ends. So as Sean kind of mentioned, Everett is a nice veteran presence that fits into the new offensive coordinator's kind of scheme who already knows the playbook and stuff like that. We already saw what Disley's upside is, which is good. Like he's a blocker that can catch the ball and haul it downfield. And as I'm going to preach all day, give the ball to Parkinson. 6'7" of hand catching sexiness that can run a 4.5. Like put it in its hands. Just do it. I think he has the highest upside technically, like the highest ceiling, but he's got to be able to get balls in his hand to grow. So let the kid play a little bit. But overall better.
All right, and we will do this one last one, so we'll leave a cliffhanger for the offensive line for everybody who really wants to hear our offensive line takes. We will go to the
What about you? Why just offensive line? A little cliffhanger on quarterback too.
There were no changes. It's the same. Running backs. Additions: Josh Johnson, undrafted free agent. Losses: Carlos Hyde, Bo Scarborough. Returners: Chris Carson, Rashad Penny, Alex Collins, Travis Homer, DJ Dallas, Nick Bellore. Sean, worse, better, or the same?
Same. I think people will say worse, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think Hyde really brought anything to the table. It's Chris Carson, Rashad Penny, and then Alex Collins. Most of these guys won't even make or not most of these guys. I hope that we don't take it like a ton of running backs. Like I hope we don't take Josh Johnson as well. We'll probably cut Josh Johnson, so I don't think a ton will change. Because you're Chris Carson or Rashad Penny, I think talent-wise are your best two guys anyways, and they were last year. And they're still here. And you're not going to use your third running back that much, and you weren't using Hyde or Bo Scarborough in that position. You're using Homer. So I don't think a lot actually changes. If Penny was healthy, he should have been playing over Hyde anyways. Should have never signed Hyde. So I say better.
Kevin?
Or the same, sorry.
The same? Okay. Kevin?
Yeah, I don't know why this guy said worse. Like people way overestimate what Carlos Hyde did for us last year. Like you can put pretty much like Alex Collins looked great when he had his snaps. Like it's just like the scheme and stuff like that. You can put, and I think with a Penny, like I said, I've been on the Penny bandwagon other than where he got drafted. So if he's healthy, I think Rashad Penny can add that nice number 2 slotness along with it. And with Alex Collins, I like Alex Collins still. And the Nick Bellore just get rid of. We don't need a fullback, but people bring him in anywho. I don't know why. We could just use the tight end there, but I think it's either the same / better because I think you're finally going to get to see Rashad Penny do what he can do if he stays healthy. And that's a good combo. Like, go watch Rashad Penny's college tape, kids. And that's what you should be able to see if he stays healthy, is just craziness and dragging freaking linebackers on his jersey while running down the field at full sprint. Also, Travis Homer is pulling in Ursua, got jacked as crap over the offseason. He looks cut, like just. So I don't know if he's trying to get in that slot too. So I would say I think like same to partially better.
Yeah, I would say the same. Carlos Hyde leaving, obviously there's an experience factor with Carlos Hyde, and I think that's why Brady Henderson said worse. I like you both said, I don't feel like he did a lot with his opportunities. I'll give him that, but I don't think I think if you put Homer or DJ Dallas in there, I think they do the same thing. So I don't really see the additions and losses. I would say they cancel out. Chris Carson's still your guy. Penny, health is always a factor. I'd really like to see DJ Dallas get some opportunity as well. Just because especially with their injury history at running back, especially in these last few years. Like, you're just going to need some guys to get some reps. And I think DJ Dallas, given the opportunity, will make the most of his opportunities. He did not too bad last year, so I think he's earned more touches this year, and hopefully he makes the most of them. But yeah, that is better, worse, or the same. And we will get to the offensive line next week. Let us know what you think of those positions. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Page Matt. Sean's at Sean Betty. Kev is at Kev Believe the First Thing Believes Me at 3. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. Follow our page on the E-Line Network. Next week, we will. It looks likely we're going to have JT back on for a trade deadline special. So you're going to want to tune in next week to see if there's any trade possibilities for the Mariners. We're going to talk trade deadline because it's the end of July is when the trade deadline is. So that'll be the last conversation we have before the Mariners possibly wheel and deal. Who knows what they're going to do here? Dipoto, what's up your sleeve? Want to come on the show? Go ahead and tweet at me. But anyway, we're going to see what the Mariners do before the trade deadline. We'll talk about the Kraken's picks and what their team might look like. And we're going to get back into some Seattle Seahawks coverage before training camp gets officially underway. There's going to be a lot next week, so please tune in. And we will see you next time on Washington East to West Sports.
Sign Lacusa support.